I want to take you to breaking news now because as people in Texas are still reeling from the horrible flooding, a separate incident is unfolding just along the border. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol announced earlier today.
The world was stunned when news broke that California's southern border had been sealed off, a move as unprecedented as it was alarming. What began as a routine inspection by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol turned into one of the most shocking discoveries in recent memory. A vast underground network stretching for miles beneath the familiar desert and urban landscape. Travelers were trapped. Trucks carrying goods rotted in the sun. Border towns buzzed with tension, their residents caught between curiosity, fear, and disbelief. Officials offered no clear explanation. The tunnels were not smuggling routes, not abandoned bunkers, and certainly not something that could be dismissed as ordinary. Instead, the discovery hinted at a deliberate, sophisticated design that defied every expectation. From the moment the first teams entered, descriptions emerged that felt almost surreal. The corridors were unnervingly symmetrical, the walls smooth and curved with precision. Dirt and rock gave way to geometric patterns that seemed engineered, not excavated. No machine marks, no shovel scratches, just polished surfaces that reflected the faint glow of work lights. It was as though some technology beyond ordinary comprehension had carved these tunnels, laying down pathways with uncanny accuracy. Officials moved quickly, closing the border to prevent both disruption and potential danger. But the secrecy only fueled speculation. What exactly had been unearthed? Cold War-era shelters, a modern clandestine project, or something ancient, deliberately hidden from the world for centuries? Even as speculation ran rampant, the practical realities could not be ignored. Border towns reported strange vibrations days before the official announcement, as if enormous machinery had been working underground. Farmers noticed subtle shifts in soil, while residents glimpsed shadows moving in the distance. Military convoys appeared overnight, helicopters hovered low, and floodlights lit makeshift camps. The discovery was not only a mystery, it was a disruption, touching daily life in ways that few had anticipated. Families were separated, schools altered schedules, and trade halted, showing the immediate human cost of an underground system that had, until now, gone entirely unnoticed. The network itself defied categorization. Chambers branched off from the main tunnels, some large enough to house vehicles, others narrow and claustrophobic. Ventilation seemed intentionally engineered, maintaining a cool, regulated atmosphere even deep underground. Geologists were baffled. Natural formations could not explain the precise curves, polished surfaces, or apparent knowledge of structural integrity. Engineers noted that pressure distribution, airflow, and acoustics appeared deliberately considered. Whoever had built this system understood far more than mere excavation. They had mastered design, functionality, and perhaps even secrecy on a scale that modern society could barely grasp. Yet the most unsettling aspect was what, or whom, I'd have been behind it. No tools, no remnants of construction, no artifacts, only perfectly smooth walls, hollow chambers, and the unspoken suggestion of intent. Was this abandoned, or had it been maintained in secret for decades or centuries? Could it be tied to forgotten civilizations, covert government programs, or something else entirely? The tunnels raised questions not just about history, but about control, knowledge, and human imagination. Borders on maps were meant to define security and sovereignty. Now, beneath California, those lines seemed meaningless. As the government restricted access, speculation grew beyond the immediate area. Could similar networks exist elsewhere in the United States, under deserts, mountains, and metropolitan centers? If one complex of this scale had gone unnoticed, what else might lie beneath familiar terrain? Universities, scientists, and explorers mobilized, attempting to map and study what could be accessed. Observations suggested a labyrinthine system, with corridors intersecting at precise angles, inclines rising and falling deliberately, and chambers optimized for purposes unknown. Every discovery raised further questions, and each unanswered question only deepened the sense of unease and curiosity nationwide. The story did not remain local for long. International eyes turned to California, with neighboring Mexico expressing concern over potential extensions of the tunnels southward. Questions of sovereignty, security, and responsibility immediately arose. What could be hidden underground that demanded such secrecy? Could advanced technologies, strategic assets, or even unimaginable objects be concealed in these depths? Even distant nations speculated on military engineering or scientific applications that might exceed contemporary understanding. The underground discovery had transformed from a local anomaly into a global story, touching politics, economics, and culture in ways that no one had foreseen. As the details emerged, speculation exploded across social media, news networks, and private forums. Rumors suggested everything from Cold War relics to ancient civilizations, and even secret modern engineering projects. Some insisted the tunnels were part of a long-forgotten nuclear survival plan. Others whispered of alien influence, pointing to the unnatural smoothness of the walls and cryptic markings glimpsed by early explorers. The absence of official confirmation only fed the frenzy. Every new report, no matter how unverified, seemed plausible. People wondered if similar hidden structures existed beneath other states, beneath the deserts of Arizona, the plains of the Midwest, or even beneath dense urban centers. Meanwhile, border communities felt the effects immediately. Farmers reported vibrations and low-frequency hums from underground machinery. Residents described mysterious lights flickering at night and distant figures moving in shadows. Families who crossed daily into Mexico for work or school found themselves trapped. Truck drivers watched perishable goods spoil. The disruptions spread far beyond California, rippling through the economy and sparking questions about national preparedness. Citizens realized the world they thought they understood, the very ground beneath their feet, could no longer be trusted to be fully known. The cultural impact grew alongside the practical disruptions. Folklore and oral histories were revisited, as ancient stories of hidden cities or secret pathways gained new attention. Students debated in classrooms about civilizations that might have had knowledge far beyond modern comprehension. Artists and writers explored the theme of hidden layers beneath everyday life, creating works that reflected both fear and fascination. For many, the discovery was no longer just about security, became a metaphor for the unknown that lurks beneath the surface of our familiar world. And yet, the government's silence persisted. Officials insisted only that the tunnels existed and that the border closure was necessary. Every new leak, every glimpse of military presence, only increased the sense of mystery. Convoys moved in, drones patrolled the skies, and equipment advanced for ordinary construction work appeared at makeshift camps. Even the language of reports was carefully neutral, fueling speculation. Was this a precaution or a warning? The public couldn't tell, and that uncertainty magnified the psychological weight of the discovery. Investigators who entered the tunnels described an environment that was both breathtaking and unnerving. The corridors curved with geometric precision, intersecting at angles too consistent to be accidental. Some passages inclined gradually, while others plunged into vast caverns supported by fused pillars, as if the builders had blended natural formations with engineered designs. Walls gleamed faintly, almost like ceramic, reflecting the faint light of work lamps, free from debris or erosion. Acoustics were peculiar. Voices carried strangely. Footsteps echoed for unnerving distances, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of sound. Geologists admitted that the formations could not be explained naturally. Engineers noted that maintaining such passages would require advanced knowledge of airflow, pressure distribution, and structural integrity. Ventilation appeared carefully engineered, keeping air fresh, even in deep chambers. Chambers varied in size and purpose, some large enough for vehicles, others narrow and claustrophobic. Every observation pointed to deliberate construction and extraordinary planning. Whoever had built this system understood the land, physics, and perhaps even human psychology, selecting routes that optimized secrecy, durability, and function. Samples taken from the walls revealed minerals that defied conventional categorization. Some reflected light in ways ordinary rock could not. The materials suggested advanced techniques, possibly beyond current scientific understanding. Archaeologists were equally puzzled. No artifacts, tools, or signs of past occupation were present. Chambers appeared deliberately cleared or maintained. The absence of evidence became its own clue, hinting at intentions far beyond casual construction. The border closure immediately affected trade and commerce. California is a critical economic hub, and halting movement along its southern boundary disrupted supply chains nationwide. Crops rotted in trucks, factories faced shortages, and neighboring states struggled to compensate. The government framed the closure as a security measure, but political debates quickly emerged. Some leaders argued the tunnels reflected decades of neglected infrastructure. Others insisted the discovery represented a national emergency. Demanding rapid militarization of the area, international attention grew. Mexico demanded transparency and feared the tunnels might extend into its territory. Allies pressed for information, while global competitors speculated on potential military or technological applications. Could these tunnels be repurposed for strategic advantage? Were they transportation systems, storage facilities, or something far beyond current understanding? The lack of answers created tension on multiple levels: political, economic, and military. Domestically, the discovery tested public trust. Protesters gathered outside government offices, demanding transparency. Activists argued that secrecy concentrated power among the few while leaving citizens in the dark. Simultaneously, the educational system responded, with universities proposing programs blending geology, archaeology, engineering, and history to explore subterranean phenomena. The mystery ignited curiosity at every level of society, from local towns to national institutions. The discovery forced a reckoning with the limits of knowledge. For centuries, humanity assumed the earth beneath its feet was largely mapped and understood. Now, one of the most densely populated and studied regions of the country revealed a vast, hidden network. The implications went beyond security or trade. They suggested that our historical understanding was incomplete, that civilizations, ancient, modern, or secret, might have left evidence deliberately hidden. Urban dwellers began questioning foundations, basements, and subway systems. Stories of hidden chambers beneath cities, once relegated to legend, gained new credibility. Students debated lost civilizations. Scientists theorized about advanced engineering. Culturally, the tunnels became a symbol of hidden truth, secrecy, and human curiosity. Religions interpreted the findings in symbolic ways, some linking them to hidden realms, others to metaphors of buried knowledge. Artists created works reflecting the confrontation between surface life and hidden depths, while public imagination ran wild with theories, both grounded and fantastical. Psychologically, the discovery unsettled the national psyche. What else might lie hidden beneath the familiar? Could similar networks exist under other states, across continents, or even beneath the densest urban landscapes? The tunnels reframed exploration, not outward into space, but downward into the very ground beneath us. In blocking the California border, the government didn't just enforce security, it drew a line in collective consciousness, signaling that beneath familiar land lies a world of secrets, mystery, and possibility. As investigators ventured further into the labyrinth, the tunnels revealed layers of complexity beyond imagination. Corridors intertwined like a three-dimensional maze, some sloping gently, others descending sharply into vast subterranean chambers. Certain sections appeared optimized for airflow and climate, suggesting long-term use or maintenance. Walls were not only polished, but occasionally embedded with metallic or crystalline materials that reflected light in unusual patterns. Explorers noted vibrations and hums, subtle yet pervasive, hinting at machinery or energy systems hidden from view. Reports of markings etched into walls added another layer of intrigue. Some resembled scripts, others geometric symbols, none resembling known languages. Could they be a form of communication, a map, or a code left by those who built the tunnels? Advanced tools were deployed to study the acoustic properties, structural stability, and material composition. The tunnels defied easy categorization, blending natural rock with engineered precision in ways that suggested knowledge far beyond ordinary construction. Every discovery raised more questions. Could these chambers have been designed for habitation, storage, transport, or something entirely different? Were they abandoned intentionally or maintained secretly all this time? Each turn in the tunnels, each unexplained feature, reinforced the notion that someone or something had a purpose, hidden beneath California, that modern society could scarcely imagine. As the story spread globally, nations watched closely. Mexico expressed urgent concern about potential extension of tunnels into its territory, demanding transparency and coordination. Allies speculated on military, scientific, or technological applications, while rivals imagined the possibilities of undisclosed advantages. If the tunnels represented clandestine infrastructure, the implications were immense. Undisclosed transportation systems, storage facilities, or even experimentation far beyond public knowledge. Secrecy fueled tension. Access was strictly controlled, with foreign experts limited to filtered reports. In the absence of full disclosure, imagination filled the gaps. Social media and news outlets swirled with theories, some plausible, others bordering on fantastical. Cold War bunkers, ancient civilizations, secret scientific experiments, and even extraterrestrial involvement. While government silence was intended for security, it inadvertently magnified curiosity, fear, and fascination on a global scale. Meanwhile, California's border closure disrupted trade with immediate economic consequences. Supply chains slowed, crops rotted in trucks, and companies faced shortages of critical materials. Other states struggled to adapt, highlighting how vulnerable systems are to disruption at key points. The tunnels were no longer just a local anomaly, became a symbol of global uncertainty, geopolitical tension, and human limitation. The discovery ignited cultural conversations that reached far beyond science and politics. Communities debated the implications of hidden worlds beneath familiar landscapes. Could human knowledge ever fully capture reality if such vast networks remained undetected? Artists and writers found inspiration in the mystery, producing works exploring secrecy, forgotten civilizations, and the unseen layers of life. Schools and universities responded by expanding studies in geology, archaeology, and engineering, blending them into interdisciplinary programs that imagined exploration, not just outward, but downward. Psychologically, the tunnels unsettled public perception of the known world. People wondered what other secrets might lie beneath urban streets, mountains, deserts, or rivers. Could the next frontier be not in space, but beneath our feet? Religions, philosophers, and storytellers pondered symbolic interpretations, reflecting on hidden truths, humanity's curiosity, and the limits of perception. The tunnels became a mirror for society, a challenge to our assumptions, a reminder that even familiar landscapes can hold unimaginable mysteries. Even months later, the California border remained sealed. Officials continued exploration, cautious and methodical, revealing sections of the labyrinth that suggested a scale far beyond initial reports. The world watched, captivated by every leak, every report, every glimpse of corridors stretching into the unknown. The discovery had reshaped not just policy and commerce, but imagination itself, signaling a profound truth. Beneath the familiar, the unknown waits, silently, patiently, challenging humanity to look deeper. And as the story unfolds, one question remains. If California's underground labyrinth was hidden for centuries, what else might lie beneath the lands we think we know? The answer, for now, remains buried, but the search, the curiosity, and the fascination have only just begun. Residents near the southern border began sharing strange experiences in the days leading up to the official discovery. Farmers reported minor tremors at night, vibrations so subtle they could barely be felt, yet enough to disturb equipment or wake sleeping animals. Some claimed they saw shadows moving beneath the sand, figures vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Patrol officers described encounters that seemed routine but carried an edge of urgency. Marked vehicles appearing on remote desert roads, unusual lights flickering across the horizon, and faint humming sounds that could not be traced to any known source. Children walking home from school spoke of curious noises echoing through the night, while local elders recounted oral histories of hidden pathways and buried chambers, long dismissed as folklore. Suddenly, these stories gained new weight, resonating with the possibility that legends may have contained kernels of truth. Families debated whether to stay or leave, weighing the safety of daily routines against the pull of home and livelihood. Teams of geologists, engineers, and archaeologists were deployed in record numbers, using every modern tool to map and analyze. The tunnels, ground-penetrating radar revealed interwoven layers, branching corridors that extended far beyond initial estimates. Seismic studies showed unusual density variations in the Earth, possibly corresponding to the network's hidden chambers. Temperature and airflow sensors indicated that ventilation was not accidental, but deliberate, maintaining a stable climate even in chambers varied. Hundreds of feet below. Samples of minerals from the walls were sent to labs across the country. Some substances were unfamiliar,